Vic, I think we should go with your triangle of truth, but we have some other topics that we never got to, so I'd say triangle some of those topics, if you ask me.
Okay, I can get it too. It is the shape of men. The only shape that real men fight in. The triangle.
It's true.
That is true.
I heard that Dave once spent 3 months refining his comedy and his political platform in a triangle. That's how hardcore the triangle is.
Best 3 months of my life.
It made you sharp. Made you edgy.
It wasn't fun, but I had to do it.
Ultimo Dave. All right, so let's go through some of these here. It's going to be Jake Paul says he's coming to MMA. He says, I'm working with a big organization right now, a whole thing in MMA. It also has to do with me fighting, and we're going to have an announcement soon. He says he's going to work with Javier Mendez out there in AKA. Thoughts?
I mean, look, here's the thing. I think it'd be great. I think Jake's young enough to really do whatever he wants. But I do think he really is just looking past Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva is a fucking stone cold killer. I follow Anderson on Instagram. He's a fucking lifetime martial artist. It's not like he's training like, oh, I need to go and fucking fight. Like it was when you watch Woodley like train, you're like, oh shit, he's putting together a camp and he's just trying to beat Jake Paul. And this is like Anderson just fights. He just is. And I think that, I'm just sort of watching the way that Anderson moves. It's so confident and he's such a fucking killer. I think Jake Paul needs to be focused on what's ahead of him. Because you did say this, David. I don't think that it completely kills his career if he loses to Anderson Silva, but it does stop that momentum right in its tracks.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying it completely kills his career either. I'm just saying it raises the question of what is his value if we see him get fucked up. Like Conor McGregor, I compare it to that when he was just unstoppable and undefeated. And then Nate Diaz fucked him up. And what he had to do to get that back was run it back at the same fight in the same weight class and win. And even then he eked out a decision. But then he went and won the lightweight title. And then he was kind of like back. I don't know. Look, I don't know if that can happen with Jake Paul. Jake Paul hasn't built up as much capital as Conor McGregor had. He hadn't slept Jose Aldo. I don't know. But it would be kind of funny if Jake Paul came into MMA and his first fight in MMA was against a legitimate, really good boxer.
Yes.
And he finally fought him in MMA. Like maybe that's what he could do. I do think that even after getting beat by Anderson Silva, coming to MMA might be enough that it sparks some interest. So we'll see.
Yeah, very interested to watch what happens. If he does truly fight MMA, I would love to watch it. Sure. I'll say that's one thing that a lot of these celebrity boxers, somebody tweeted this, and I thought it was just such a great, it was an MMA fighter, I forget which one it was, but he was like, all these guys talk about fighting, but none of them want to go and step into MMA. All these celebrities, all these YouTubers, all these guys, go do MMA. It's a completely different game. It is, literally 5 times the physical output, right? You have to have 5 times the knowledge. You have to have there's so much more going on. And yeah, I want to see the first guys that do that. 2 big fucking, YouTubers or 2 celebrities that say, oh, I'm going to really go and train MMA and get good at that. I'll be very, very impressed with that. So we'll see what happens. Vic, please.
Just before we go to the next topic, just for example, I'm not trying to I'm not shitting on Jake Paul for this because he's impressive, but Jake Paul versus Ben Askren or Tyron Woodley in an MMA fight, he would have 0 chance. He would have had 0 chance to beat those guys. Yeah. They'd both have 1,000 times in a row fuck him up. MMA.
0.
Zero's an extreme, but no, he would get fucked up by both of them.
I agree
every time.
But look, is there a path to him beating Ben Askren in MMA? There's a path to him really hunkering down and learning how to wrestle, and I think he's got a little bit of a wrestling background.
Still not going to happen.
He's not, but look, he still did knock him the fuck out. All he's got to do is keep his standing and throw those fucking hands, and those little gloves. Jake's got a hard shot, dude. That's a legit thing right there. You can't learn that. So, all right, Vic, go ahead.
So we're changing it up a little bit here, but I don't know if you guys heard, but Ben Rothwell made his debut at BKFC this weekend.
Burger
King, yes. He got a couple Whoppers, Burger King, the King sandwich.
They're open late.
Crispy chicken fries. Remember chicken fries?
I'm not.
But anyway, it took him 19 seconds to finish his opponent.
Let's see. Can we see it? Big Ben Rothwell. Just not fun. Honestly, not for nothing, dude. The more I watch BKFC, the more I don't like it. You know, it doesn't really have the fighter's best interests in mind.
No?
It's not that the UFC does, but I think that they've created a rule set to like legitimately give these guys long careers. These guys are going to break their fucking knuckles on each other's heads. They're tearing each other's faces up. They're creating a lot of scar tissue. It is going to impede them for a future fighting career. If they want to continue on to boxing or MMA afterwards, I think BKFC, the smoke's going to clear, and a lot of these guys are going to shatter their hands. They're going to have too much scar tissue. They're going to be getting cut up. Coop, did you want to chime in? I see you wanted to jump in
Yeah, I was going
there.
to say, it also seems like sort of a mirage because they offer these guys a ton of money. Like you hear a lot of people say, oh, I got a bigger payout than I ever did in the UFC. But to your point, it's kind of just like, you know, a career in the NFL versus a career in the MLB.
Yeah.
The longevity's not there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's certainly for guys like seeing like guys who have retired and they're like, hey, this is my last fight or something like that. I kind of get it. Seeing guys like MVP go over there was a little bit strange.
Yeah.
So you go, what? So you're going to go do this thing and then lose a fight? You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I thought you were being set up to go to the UFC and go like be a big guy. I don't know.
He's a good dude. I met him in England when we were out there. He's a really good dude, and he's a really, really talented fighter. Like I said, I'm not hating on it, and good for the guys that are going and doing it and making some cash. I'm just saying that it is really fucking brutal, right? And I feel like I'm not like, when I'm watching the sport of mixed martial arts or even boxing or jiu-jitsu or any of these things, yes, they're hurting each other, but it feels like, it just feels more like martial arts. It feels like there's like a level of like respect. This feels
like it should be happening at a bar.
It feels like it's like the guy who owns this doesn't really give a fuck about these guys at all. I mean, what they're doing to each other, and every single fight you see, they're really just a fucking bloody mess. They're breaking their hands constantly. I just don't see it as being necessarily like if my son wanted to bare knuckle box, I would have a really big issue with it. Whereas if he wanted to box or do MMA, I would support him completely, right? I would just be like, yeah, I don't really think it's, you know.
All right. Well, I guess this brings us to our third topic. James competed in BFX. All right, guys, we have that clip.
Go ahead, Vic. Let's wrap it up. What do we got here?
There's a couple of things, but we'll make it real quick.
It's a triangle. You get one more.
Well, look. All right. Helen Peralta was scheduled to appear on Invicta FC 49. This is how she weighed in, guys. If you want to show the pictures here, and it's a blank.
It looks like me without my shirt on.
And the other one actually that I want to mention, I'm going to sneak it in. I don't care what you say. Antonio Inoki died. A lot of people credit him as Yeah, he died at age 79. He had that famous fight with Muhammad Ali where he fought off his back.
Right.
A lot of nerds like Ariel Helwani say that that's the first real MMA match.
I understand that. Yeah. I mean, look, we watched that.
It was a very weird.
It ended up being
fight.
a draw. Antonio Inoki wouldn't get off his back. And yeah, Muhammad Ali didn't really know what to do. He just kept on kicking him in the ankles.
That's right.
Yeah, this was the whole match. Very, very boring.
What if Billy Eichner played Inoki in the Bros version of this story?
I like it.